Hey, Dr. Richard Gerhauser here with a health alert. You may have noticed in the news recently that canola oil was in the news. There was a mouse study on the Alzheimer's mice. So scientists have bred a strain of mice that's very prone to developing Alzheimer's disease, and then they use their various drugs or looking at the mechanisms of the disease with this mouse model. So they have these mice that are highly prone to develop Alzheimer's disease. They gave one group canola oil, the another group they didn't, and they followed them forward. And what they found was the mice getting the canola oil had the beta amyloid plaques, an increased amount compared to the other mice, and they had more memory problems than the other mice. So it went out that canola oil causes Alzheimer's disease. Well, I don't know if you can go that far, but I would not be surprised, because I have been recommending that people avoid canola oil for many, many years, and that's because of the whole story. So I'm going to briefly just review with you the whole story of canola oil. So canola oil is really a man-made product in that originally there was the rapeseed. The rapeseed had uric acid in it, which is toxic. It's toxic to the heart. So you couldn't really use that as an oil for eating, but they figured out how to breed. They crossbred the plants, the rapeseed plants, to develop canola oil, which had a much lower level of uric acid so that it wasn't so toxic. And then, that sounds okay, but the rapeseed and the canola seed has some problems when you want to make an oil out of it. One is it's very murky. It doesn't look good. Consumers don't like murky stuff. They want the oil to be clear, looks clear like a mountain stream. And that's how everybody wants their oil to look, otherwise they won't buy it. Plus, people don't like their oil to stink to high heaven. If it stinks, then it's like, oh, well, maybe that's a warning sign that it's gone bad. Now, canola oil is very prone to going bad, so it does go bad, but the processing can get that out of there. So what they do is they bleach it and filter it to get the cloudiness out, and then they deodorize it to get the smell out. So when they're done, you don't smell it, and it's clear, and it looks really nice, like all those other clear vegetable oils. But there's a problem with this. Now, before I get to that, the canola oil was really was impacted by Monsanto. So Monsanto genetically modified it so that you can spray Roundup on it. Roundup is really bad. Roundup, or glyphosate, is a chemical that I believe has the potential to wipe out the human species. Now you can't avoid it. Like if you buy organic wine in California, glyphosate's in it. Glyphosate should not be in anything organic. So canola oil is full of glyphosate. Glyphosate is very harmful for the environment. It's even more harmful for human beings because it replaces glycine in our proteins. Glycine is one of the amino acids. And if we replace it, then our amino acids, which make up our proteins, one amino acid gets replaced with an herbicide, that ain't good, and leads to all kinds of bad things. The other thing is the deodorization process. The deodorization process hydrogenates the oil. So canola oil is hydrogenated, which means some of it's made into a trans fat. Now, we all know that studies show us that trans fats are bad. So here is the oil that's supposed to be healthy. Why did they think canola oil was so healthy? It's because its fatty acid profile is very similar to olive oil, which most studies show that is healthy. So because it was very similar, had a lot of monosaturated fatty acids, we thought, well, this is good. So the American Heart Association, all the health food, the restaurants, everybody started, because canola oil is cheap. cheap is good when you've got a business like a restaurant or Whole Foods. I went to Whole Foods. I got a breakfast burrito, looked at the ingredients. Canola oil. If you look at all the cooked food they cook there in the Whole Foods that they cook right there, canola oil. So they've been buffaloed into thinking this is a good oil, even if it's organic and cold pressed, it's still not going to be good because it had to be deodorized and it's still going to contain trans fats. It's doubly bad if you get the regular supermarket canola oil because it's also going to have the glyphosate residues, plus you're going to be contributing to wiping out mankind by substituting the glyphosate for glycine. So canola oil used by most restaurants, especially the ones that, we want to be healthier because everybody thinks it's healthy. And one of the original reasons that they thought it was healthy is because canola oil does lower your cholesterol. But if you know me, low cholesterol is not good in and of itself. Cholesterol is extremely important. We do not want to lower it artificially. That is something that leads to poor health because cholesterol is a precursor to vitamin D. It's a precursor to our hormones, many of our hormones. So it's not something you want to lower, but it is a marker. If your LDL goes up, it is a marker that you're stressed. But eating canola oil is the last thing you want to do. It has trans fats, it has glyphosate, it's unnatural, it's genetically modified for all those reasons. Another reason, if you don't have enough reasons, the deuterium content is high in canola oil. It's 155 parts per million. That's high for a plant food, but that's because mankind has messed with it. Coconut oil has less than 110 parts per million. So coconut oil would be a better choice. Palm oil would be a better choice. The saturated plant fats are a much better choice. Olive oil is a better choice. And again, getting back to the mouse study, that same group of researchers had tested olive oil on that same mouse model, the Alzheimer's mice, and they had a benefit. The same study, less plaques, less memory problems in the mice. So olive oil is good. Canola oil appears to be bad, and it's not surprising. I've been telling people this for 20 years, so it's not surprising. Yet your doctor, nutritionist, they'll all tell you that canola oil is healthy and it's a good way to go because it's inexpensive. It is rancid, but you can't smell it because it's been deodorized. That is the bottom line. That doesn't matter if it's cold pressed organic or the traditional genetically modified, which is most of the canola oil that you'll see on the store shelves in a regular grocery store. Now the other fats that are just as good as the coconut and palm, if not better, I especially recommend the saturated animal fats in the winter if you live in a temperate climate. And those are ghee, butter, and the fats from animals. Grass-fed organic beef, pastured pig fat, pastured or grass-fed lamb, pastured ducks, pastured geese. All those have fats that are very low in deuterium. Remember, deuterium is something that leads to the modern diseases when there's too much. And because of our exposures, because we don't get in the sun, because we're exposed to these gadgets like I'm talking on right now, the electromagnetic fields from cell phones and all that, we have much more deuterium, and it's a key to why we have the explosion of diseases, especially cancer. Cancer soon in the United States will be the #1 cause of death. It is already the #1 cause of death worldwide. Cancer is going up, 1 out of every 3. Soon it'll be 2 out of every 3. And then after that, it will be everybody. This is Dr. G. Thanks so much for watching. And please share this video if you like this kind of hard-hitting health information.